This channel's well overdue for another game from Origin because that team put so much love into their boxes. Let's look at Ultima VI, The False Prophet, which keeps the tradition alive with some awesome pack-ins. The cover's pretty good, with this obviously holy figure standing triumphant over a demon and bathed in light. I don't really love the stone framing, but that's getting picky, and we see it's made by Lord British, the moniker of Richard Garriott. I love the screenshots on the back, but that's just because this art is so DOS, and this is the kind of stuff I grew up with. I also love it when these old games mention things like how they're in full color. It's such an endearing reminder of the simple things that used to be important to us. But let's go ahead and look inside. Here are the floppies. These are kind of interesting because they aren't numbered like most floppy disks were. Instead, they're labeled Program and Introduction, Map and Player, Game and Endgame, Populace A, Populace B. Then there's this little stone called an Orb of the Moon Gemstone. And the back of the box assures us that this is an authentic Orb of the Moon Gemstone. Okay. As you can probably guess, this is an item from the game, and it's a really neat little touch. Next, there's this awesome compendium, which is the manual. I love the art on this, and I love how Origin gave you manuals that were disguised as in-world documents. We saw this in Wing Commander as well. It's another way the contents of the box get you immersed in Britannia, the world of the game. The whole manual is written as an in-world letter from the in-game Lord British. He's enlisting your help to save the world and providing advice for doing so. He tells us, "For more than a fortnight I have dictated my thoughts and admonitions to the venerable Mobius, keeper of the libraries of the Lyceum. He has scrupulously recorded my every word, and, when called upon, made illustrations to aid your understanding." It catches you up on every Ultima game, then tells you what you're tasked with in this one. Then it tells you basically how everything in the game works without making it sound like it's giving you video game instructions. It's actually impressive how well they were able to keep this all sounding like natural advice. A typical manual would say you get experience points from killing enemies, and then with enough XP you can level up and raise your stats. But this manual says, again in the in-game persona of Lord British, the much-traveled adventurer will face many opportunities to explore new places, talk with people, solve puzzles, and complete quests. As you do these things, experience will lead to increased physical strength, dexterity, and intelligence, giving you greater capacity to fulfill your destiny. And this manual is thorough. It's almost 50 pages, covering every aspect of the game in the same style, and there's great hand-drawn art throughout. The bestiary is probably the coolest part with all this creature art. There's a lot of the traditional fantasy enemies that you're used to. Here's an awesome dog. In his closing words, Lord British references the map that's in the box. To reinforce the knowledge I impart through these words, I have instructed the royal mapmakers to create a map of Britannia for your use. I love how this is all tied together. On to the other stuff. Here's the reference guide for installing and things like that. And this is interesting. This little flyer offers a chance for your face to appear in Ultima VII. It says, if you found one of these 10 sacred runes in the box, these are different from the gemstone, you automatically win a spot in Ultima VII. Sadly, it appears I was not one of the lucky ones. But look down here also. It says, if your box has the Orb of the Moon gemstone, you may enter the contest for a chance to get your picture in Ultima VII as well, and 10 additional winners will be selected this way. But we saw earlier that all copies of the game are advertised as including this stone, so I think this was probably kind of a ruse to get people to send in this card, basically as a registration card like all games had back then. Anyway, it makes it clear not to include the rune or stone when you mail this in, just send in your picture and info and you might be chosen. Then there's a catalog. Check out the prices of this game in Wing Commander. $70 back in 1990. And finally, there's this amazing cloth map of the world. It's all labeled in this fantasy script, but the manual tells you how to read it. I love the hand-drawn style as if created by an in-world cartographer. I love the colors. I just love everything about this. I appreciate all of these things so much. Nothing would have changed if Origin had simply included a paper map or even just put it in the manual. No one would have noticed if Origin didn't put a gemstone in the package or if the manual was written like a normal manual, but they did it all this way because it's fun, because it helps the immersion, and because they were clearly proud of the world they had built. This has everything I love about old games that went the extra mile with their complete in-box packages.